Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity in the Center, where we believe there is first and in my life, God the good and everywhere present. Hour of the month is, how's that? Hour in my thoughts. And now,
if you guys don't know it, you'll know it after the friends here. There are no strangers, won't you linger in this family of love? We are all friends. Strangers, won't you walk inside? We're in this family of love and hold you in our heart, buddy. Everyone knows this one. I am one with everything, but with the understanding, being one consent. Somebody click. There we go. One with you, one with you. What am I? I am love with me. Peace with you, peace with me. I am one with everything, with the understanding, being one can set us free. One with you, one with me, one with me.
all right, before you sit down,
Go to the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Lift your voice and repeat after me. Come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. There's love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and we come together. We come We come together, we come together, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together. In the name of love. Good morning, everybody.
our daily word this morning is going to be read by Fred.
Thanks. Divine order. I appreciate the divine order and clarity in the sky. There is a satisfaction and feeling that my own ego mind is in control today and for days to come. However, there is a deeper, richer satisfaction that I experience when I surrender to the life flow and express in order and harmony. In that surrender, I release my own limited efforts to organize my life. I am an essential part of a purpose more vast than my mind can imagine. I know that I give thanks to divine order in my life. I joyously embrace and reply a part of my life. In the Bible verse, I am Alpha and the Omega, who is and who was and who is to come, the Almighty. Revelation 8.
Welcome to life, we are glad you are here. Glad you could join in the dance. Don't you give it a chance. Say yes, 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 yes. Life is a dance. Choose your own partner, pick your best song. Come now and join in the dance. I'm arms and giving your all. There are rewards for this. And what I become is at my say yes, 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 yes. Life is a dance. Choose your own partner, pick your best song. Come now and join in the dance. I know that life is a dance in the dance. When we're dancing, life's a breeze. Come on, dance. I can help you dance. May I have this dance? that's where you are. Say yes, 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 yes. Look at it, all of our lives are a dance. Choose your own partner, pick your best song. Come now and dance. Come now and join in the dance. Good morning, everybody.
Our guest speaker this morning is Missy Day, and she is the founder of Passion for Success, a company that creates dynamic leaders and successful business owners. From an early age, she had a creative path to get there. After 20 plus years in the corporate world, she decided to follow her own heart and start her own business, a decision that has turned out to be a true blessing. Her talk today is how to get there from here.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I am so honored to be here today, and I said, of course not. And Ira was kind enough to agree. And so here I am. And have you ever had something happen to you or read a book, so excited about it that you can't wait to share that with others? Well, that's kind of where we're at this morning. I am a John Maxwell coach. And sitting under John Maxwell has been a true blessing for me, and he has shared his life that has really resonated with me. And one of those was how to get from here to there. And it's about getting unstuck and not being afraid to move. Many of you are familiar with the book Think and Grow Rich. Awesome book, right? There are a couple things that I'm going to share from that today because it fits in from how we get from here to there. And then I'm going to share a little bit about my own personal story to negatively affect the rest of my life. But it's a choice, right, that we make all the time. We're constantly making choices and thinking how we're going to change and pivot and move in a different direction. We are all standing in our place called here. And we're aware of a place called there. Your spirit stirs and screams for you to grow, move, there. But how often and why do we stay here? Because we put too much attention. We think their expectations are of us. Instead of focusing on our own journey. And because over there is an unknown. And we all know that we just love the unknown, don't we? We're afraid to move out of our comfort experience, where you're afraid to move out of your comfort zone. We may fail, God forbid, because we say we are too busy here to focus on getting over there. How many times have you heard or said that in your own life? We make choices on how busy we are. Because we end up following Toto is really not the direction that we want to be going in. In order to get from here to there, you have to have a clear picture. Our mind is created to think in pictures. And when we lack in picture, we tend to move into confusion. By showing them pictures. They get confused, they move to imagination and fantasy. When adults get confused, and it all comes down to your mind and your thoughts. Only you can choose your thoughts. Your thoughts and your actions create your results. And what you've been thinking is the cause of where your focus goes and where your energy goes. I could have allowed circumstances from my childhood and teens determine the outcome of my life, but my dad slash grandpa, which I'll explain in a minute, taught me at a young age that I could accomplish. He was the first person to teach me about the power of positive thinking, and actually my first book by Norman Vincent Peale. I believe I was 7 years old at the time that he gave me that book, and it sounded good, and it gave me a good foundation to start in my life. Now, when I was a child, she gave me to her parents to raise because, frankly, she was unequipped to be a mother. She was very busy doing other things. Her parents, her mom and her stepdad, raised me. My grandmother had an addiction to alcohol and prescription drugs, to say the least. My grandfather, who I call Dad now because he's the only dad I've ever known, because I've never known my biological father, left when I heard in this story that I was a daddy's girl. He was my whole world. He was the one that was shaping me and developing me. I hear them fighting, and seeing him walking out with a suitcase devastated me on his legs, and pleaded with him, please don't leave me here. Because I knew what he was leaving me in. An unsafe, unprotected, and he said, I love you more than anything, and you'll be okay. And I watched him walk out the door. Of course, I'm sobbing at this, right? Now, when you're 6 years old, and you're watching your whole world walk out the door, and then you're told it's your fault, that can be. And thankfully for me, that even though we went through a period where my grandmother, unfortunately, was just, she was an unhappy person and tried to commit suicide several times. I made sure that he picked me up, and we had lots of daddy-daughter dates and spent Sundays together, because he was constantly reinforcing in my mind positivity. And I don't know it now, but this is going to make you stronger. This is going to change you. You're going to have something to reflect back on and say, hey, I made it through that at a young age. I can make it through anything. I embrace that more and more. And in my adulthood, when I think back, saying to me, Missy, you can do it. You can do whatever you want. That has sustained me throughout my life. Edwin C. Barnes, who was a critical figure in Think and Grow Rich, from here to there. He was the man who thought his way into partnership with Thomas, and that was not to work for Thomas Edison, but to work with Thomas Edison. Quite a feat, since he didn't even know him. Truly, thoughts are things, and powerful things at that, when mixed with translation into riches or other material objects. Edwin C. Barnes discovered how true it is that men, and I talk to a lot of people when I'm out speaking, and if we're talking about Think and Grow Rich, they'll say to be all about money. It's like, whoever said that being rich is all about money, right? There's so many things we can be rich at in our life. And I tell them, read the book with an open mind and not equate the richness just with money or material things. Pulse of thought first flashed into his mind. He was in no position to act upon it. Two, I would say that's a big obstacle. And he did not have enough money to pay for his railroad fare to Orange, New Jersey. Another obstacle. These difficulties were sufficient to have discouraged the majority of men, but his was no ordinary desire. He was so determined to find a way to carry out his desire that he finally decided to travel by blind baggage. To the uninitiated, this means that he went to East Orange on a freight train. He presented to go into business with the inventor. Can you imagine? Showing up, you've been riding a freight train, he must look a fright, and he's standing before Edison saying, I'm going to be your business partner. In speech, he stood there before me, looking like an ordinary tramp. But there was something in the expression of his face, determined to get what he had come after. I had learned from years of experience with men that when a man really desires a thing so deeply that he is willing to stay to get it, he is sure to win. I gave him the opportunity he asked for because I saw subsequent events proved that no mistake was made. Just when young Barnes said to Mr. Edison on that occasion was far less important than what he thought. It might have been the young man's appearance which got him his start in the Edison's office, for that was what he thought that counted. If the significance of this statement could be conveyed to every person who reads it, there would be no need for the, because that statement came in chapter 1. And he's saying if people truly grasped that, there would have been no need for the rest of that book. This would be like going to Steve Wynn and saying, Steve, I don't want to just work at the Wynn. I want to be your partner in business at the Wynn. Right? You wonder what CEOs of major companies would say if somebody showed up in their office now after they'd been riding on a freight train and asking to be their business partner. They probably would say, obviously have lost their mind. Proverbs 23:7 says, as a man thinketh, so is he, but is so comprehensive as to reach out to every condition and circumstances of his life, his character being the complete sum of all of his thoughts. Of all the beautiful truths pertaining to the soul which have been restored, and none is more gladdening or fruitful of divine promise and confidence than this. Thoughts, the molder of character, and maker and shaper of condition, environment. Chapter 2 is my favorite because he talks where Edwin Barnes truly stepped up and grabbed what he wanted. When Edwin C. Barnes climbed down from the freight train, his thoughts were that of a king. As he made his way from the railroad tracks to Thomas Edison's office, his mind was at work. He saw in Edison's presence. He heard himself asking the consuming obsession of his life, a burning desire to become the business associate of the great desire was not a hope, it was not a wish. It was a keen, pulsating, it was definite. The desire was not new when he approached Edison. It had been Barnes' dominating desire for a long time. In his mind, it may have been, probably was, only a wish. He appeared before Edison with it. A few years later, Edwin C. Barnes again stood before her. This time, his desire had been translated into reality. He was in business with Edison. People who knew Barnes envied him because of the break life yielded him. They saw him in the days of his triumph without taking the trouble to invest. Boy, how many times do we do that? We see people based on where they're at. We have no idea what they've walked through to get there, right? We need to be succeeded because he chose a definite goal, placed all of his energy, all his willpower back of that goal. He did not intend to start in the most menial work as long as it provided an opportunity to take even one step toward his. Just before he had the chance, he had been making its appearance. During that time, not desire had been held out to him. To everyone except himself, he appeared only another cog in the Edison business wheel, but in his mind of every day that he worked there. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not a patient person. God help me, I'm not. Years without even a glimmer that he was going to get what he wanted, what he was there for. I'm not sure. I would have hung. After maybe 2.5 years, I probably would have said, you know what, I'm out. This was fun. I'm going to go try something else. He didn't. Why? Because it was his burning desire. He already saw it happening in his mind. He knew that it was going to happen. It is a remarkable illustration of the power of a definite business associate of Mr. Edison, more than he wanted anything else. He created a plan by which to attain that purpose, but he burned all bridges, a dominating obsession of his life, and finally, a fact. When he went to Orange, he did not say to himself, I will try to induce Edison to give me, I will see Edison and put him on notice that I have come to go into business with him. Not merely a little conversation, hey, I like that he's come to do business with him. He did not say, I will work there for a few months, else. He did say, I will start anywhere. I will do anything Edison tells me to do, but before I am through, He did not say, I will keep my eyes open for another opportunity in case I fail to get what I want in the Edison organization. He said, there is but one thing in this world, business association with Thomas A. Edison. I will burn all bridges behind me and stake my entire... He left himself no possible way of retreat. He had to perish. He had to win or perish. So I'll ask you, desire to do something, but you do all the buts. Well, if it wasn't meant to be, right? We tend to find little ways, avenues out of the things that we really want to do. If you are a passion today, I just want to encourage you, no matter what, to keep following that. Because if you have it in here, I can guarantee you, when you process it enough, it will happen. And I can tell you that today because when we moved here from Oregon in '93, I was a social worker in Oregon. The state system is nothing like the Oregon system. So the first one that I worked for, they closed, and I went to work for Citigroup. But before that, and we're walking down this hall, and I'm seeing this long line of offices where all the managers sit, and I saw one that was vacant. So after the interview, and we're walking, is this the office for the manager that you're interviewing for? And she said yes. And I started visualizing myself sitting at that desk with that vision. And I knew the salary that I wanted because I told them I didn't want to take less than what I was making before. And they called me 2 days later and offered before. I did not waver. I did not question myself. I didn't back down. I said, we had a conversation, and I said, I can't take the salary lower than what I was making before. And she said, I don't know. Now, one or two things can happen at the end of that phone call. I could have freaked out, or what I chose to do is I held my vision of me sitting where I wanted to be at, making the salary I had requested. She called me that night, and she said, I talked to HR, and we're going to offer you a salary higher than... Now, if I had freaked out over the first phone call, right, that would have had a whole of my desire and the vision that I had in my head, that's why I set it up and put all my stuff around me. I felt so at home, and I thought, man, this stuff really works. And think about what you want to accomplish. And are you willing to stake your entire future on it in order to obtain it? Chapter 3, he talks about faith, the visualization of and belief in attainment of desire. When faith is blended with the vibration of thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration, translates it into its spiritual equivalent, and transmits it to infinite intelligence, as in the case of prayer. Faith is a state of mind, which may be induced or created by affirmations or repeated instructions through the principle of auto-suggestion. Convincing your subconscious for which you ask, and it will act upon that belief, which your subconscious mind passes back to you in the definite plans for procuring that which you desire. How many times are we surprised when we ask for something that we want, and we act so shocked and surprised? Why is that? Why are we so surprised?
It doesn't always happen.
Right, because it doesn't always happen. But for the most experiences, is that I think if we got everything we asked for, whoa, you're asking sometimes for a train wreck to happen. But in I received, I always feel encouraged and blessed to keep moving forward and reaching for those. Repetition of affirmation of orders to your subconscious mind is the only known method of volunteer. To me, faith is believing in the unseen. I believe someone I have never seen, yet I believe with all my heart in angels that surround us, although I have never seen one. In Matthew, faith, as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, Move from here. Nothing will be impossible for you. Anytime during your life's journey, when you want to get from here to there, remember you start with the thought of where you want to go. Have the faith that you will get there. When you change the way you think about things, the things you think about change. Remember, it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. We are always creating pictures, either by life, by design, over there. I would encourage you today to hold your image until you achieve it. So going back to what I would like for all of you, if you just will, for a few minutes, just close your eyes. And I would like for you that you want to achieve or that you're working on there physically. Look around you, see what's going on. Be present for the person that's before you if it involves a person. And really stop and take some time to think about that right now. Is it something important? Is it a passion? Is it something that you've given thought before? Or is it something new? To hold that vision until it comes to fruition. Is there anybody that would be willing to share what it is that what your vision is that you're going to hold on to? Yes? Awesome. That's awesome. So what steps are you taking, or where are you at in that process?
Visioning or ordering my life.
Mm-hmm.
Inviting people in. Last night God sent me next to Mitchell to record. Charlie Susan, very helpful.
Good. And I'm sorry, what is your name?
William.
So William brings up a really good point. So we can visualize, right, what we want, but then do we just sit back and let it happen? No. There are steps. We have to keep working towards that. And you think of Edwin C. Barnes. He knew what he wanted. He saw it. He visualized. He knew it was going to happen, but he worked to get there. And we have a responsibility, like you're doing, to keep taking steps forward to make that happen. Anybody else would like to share what image that you're holding? Anyone? Are you shy? Well, I'll share a vision that I'm holding. So when City closed, I thought, oh, we're doing this again. And they closed the whole site and moved it to Ohio. And I thought, man, this could go two ways here. I could go and try to find something else. And at this time, you know, the financial institution was not doing that great. And I thought, if I go to another financial institution, what are the likelihoods of them closing again? And I just didn't want to go through that process. And so I thought, this is really an opportunity for me to take all the things that I love, what I do in corporate, and start my own business. My dad was a successful entrepreneur. He started his electrical business in California with $100 and a bicycle and sold it when he was 70 for millions of dollars. So the entrepreneurial spirit was within me and in my family. But I'll tell you what, when it's you and you're doing it, it's kind of like, okay, this seems kind of scary to me. But I thought, what are my options? I don't like the options of going back, so I want to start my own business. So far in 4 years, I have been successful as a business coach and a personal growth coach. But I have found that speaking, I love to talk. And I never did. I never thought I'd be the talker, standing up in front of people speaking. But I kind of like it. And I've had a vision since I was in my 20s. I fell down a flight of stairs and injured my inner ear, and I was in bed for 6 weeks. Now, when you're in bed on your back for 6 weeks, whole lots of things can take place in your head. And I was journaling, and I remember I saw something so clear in my mind that I was standing on a stage before hundreds of women delivering a message. And I have held on to that image ever since I was 25 years old. That has not come to pass yet, but I still have that vision, and I'm holding that vision until it takes place. So today, whatever vision came into your mind, I would just encourage you to hold on to that until it happens. I thank you for inviting me, and I hope you all have a blessed week. Thank you.
Let's just take a few minutes, close our eyes, and let's follow through on what Missy has shared with us this morning. Just imagine what it is that you would like to create in your life. At Unity, we believe that we can achieve whatever we set out to do. We believe that there's a power greater than ourselves that helps us to become what we want to become. Doesn't matter what your age, doesn't matter if you're a woman or man. If you have a dream within you and you visualize it, and you are for sure, just like Mr. Gaines or Mr. Barnes, you are so powerful because you live with the image of God within you. Sometimes we're so scared of what's out there that we don't know. We don't know if we'll be able to handle the frustration or the trials and tribulations of moving on. But what if you could? What if you truly did believe that you could have what you want? What would you dream for? And sometimes it helps to share with somebody your dream. And choose somebody that you know is not going to laugh or say, how the heck are you going to do that? Or start giving you ways how you should do it. Find someone who supports you. You ask them to listen. And that someone is that God within you. That essence will never tell you that you can't. That essence will always support you. Dream bigger and better, and give you bigger and better than what you even thought you wanted. You have that essence within you. Draw from it, bring it forth. Visualize what you want. Write it down and read it every day, morning and night. Take a moment to get into that place where you feel centered and whole. And read with conviction that you know this is happening right now. There was a video on Facebook, and it was people telling about their dreams. Jim Carrey wrote a check for $10 million, dated it 3 years in the future, put it in his pocket. Every day he would look at that check because he knew he was going to get an acting job that created $10 million for him. He said by the time that he got the call for Dumb and Dumber movie, they offered him $10 million, and he pulled out his check, and it was 3 days before the date on the check. He said he didn't know how, he didn't know why, he just knew. You have that same power within you. Let's keep each other all accountable and just ask next week, did you write down your dream, your desire? And are you reading it every day? And if not, why? Sometimes it's good to do things that we don't believe will come true and sort of test the waters a little bit. And when we do, the joke is on us. So remember, you have the power within you. You have God within you. You have that essence. Don't play smaller than who you are. Play bigger and allow your life to grow and become more than you ever dreamed it could ever be. It is all up to you. Take a deep breath in. Slowly exhale. And slowly open your eyes to what is, and then continue to dream what can be. And let's sing our Lord's Prayer.